But let's move on now to the Celtics. They had the 3rd overall pick, ended up taking Jayson Tatum here. They traded down, obviously, with Philadelphia, getting more picks, possible more picks. They can get the 2018 Laker pick if it lands between 2 and 5. If not, it becomes the Kings 2019 pick. I'm pretty sure that's what the deal is, and obviously the trade flip between 1 and 3. And I don't think it was a terrible move for the Celtics, but they ended up taking Jayson Tatum, and that's what I want to talk about. Jayson Tatum is the pick at number 3. We both like Jayson Tatum, but Josh Jackson was still on the board. De'Aaron Fox was still on the board. Dennis Smith was still on the board. So looking at all the players that were on the board, did they make a mistake taking Jayson Tatum at 3?
Okay. Let me preface this with, I believe it's hard because it's a mistake is being you did the wrong thing, and we don't know yet. I mean, this is literally the day after the draft.
We can't Jaylen Brown this.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
Look, Jackson, by all accounts, has the higher upside as a amazing two-way player. Will he get there? We don't know. What we do know right now is that Jayson Tatum is a more polished offensive player, both shooting and passing, and he gives the Celtics potentially a dynamic score to go alongside both Isaiah Thomas and Al Horford. So I think that is actually a smart move by them to get someone who can fill that scoring gap when those guys are having off nights or maybe they're different rotations. Like Avery Bradley stepped up huge last year for them in the conference finals. Credit due, but I think Jayson Tatum could be an absolute stud offensively.
Well, and I think also too, you look at the Jaylen Brown pick. Jaylen Brown at least has a lot of athleticism. He's that guy that kind of fits a similar mold to Josh Jackson.
Yeah, it'd be another raw kind of a prospect,
a raw guy, and maybe Jaylen Brown can develop into a good defender. So if you have a good defender in Jaylen Brown,
we saw a little bit out of that against LeBron.
Yeah, you compare
until it wasn't.
You compare. Well, I mean, again, he's guarding the best basketball player in the world right now. So you're getting a guy who could possibly a lockdown defender, and then have a JT who fits that mold of an offensive monster. So again, I think the pick makes sense. I think drafting Jayson Tatum makes sense, and I don't think there's a problem there. However, I think the problem really lies on, first off, what Danny Ainge is coming out and saying that we needed. I think the problem lies in the trade and the trade of moving back because again, you got value, you got another pick again. And Boston's loading up on these picks. It seems like Boston and Philly are kind of trading places right now. But again, you are a team that is, the reigning Eastern Conference champion of the regular season. So maybe you do load up for when Isaiah Thomas leaves and when Al Horford leaves.
But wouldn't you want a point guard of the future at that point instead of going wing in the draft?
That's what I was saying is why wouldn't you go and get Markelle Fultz? And I know people are going to bring up the Danny Ainge comment of Jayson Tatum was our number 1 and we got him at 3. I think that's a load of crap. And I don't trust Danny Ainge saying that. I think that's something to save face. So the real question is, what is the direction of this team? Because, again, I don't think the pick of Jayson Tatum is bad. I think we both agree that Jayson Tatum has a lot of potential. But it's really, did the trade of the number 1 and number 3 need to happen? And should have they really gone with Markelle Fultz? And would he fit this future of this team better?
Yeah, I think I like Fultz's fit on this team better going towards the future because, like you said, Isaiah Thomas getting older, and
coming up on a contract year.
He will end up on a contract year, and the question is if you're going to max him out at his age with his top end kind of being seen at this point. And I mean, that's still, for a 30-point scorer for some man, for a guy who's 5'4", 5'3", 5'2", the more you say it, the shorter he gets. He's an awesome scorer, but he's a negative on defense for you, which you can cover up because you have excellent role players.
You have
you have positionless players who can go 2 through 4 or 1 through 4 even for you at times. So that's awesome. But I think I go planning for the future and go with Fultz because, again, you have so many wings on good contracts already. Why do you feel the need to keep going back to the whole wing after wing in this draft? Like, I like Jayson Tatum. I like Semi. I think they're both wonderful players. I don't know why this team is going to have 7 wings on the roster, though. And that blows my mind because I look back to point guard and I'm like, so yeah, like Marcus Smart, you guys confident in Marcus Smart?
Well, and the biggest thing that we kind of saw at least was rebounding and the deficiency in rebounding.
The lack thereof.
And Jayson Tatum, I don't think he brings that. And I don't think Markelle Fultz would have either. But then again, you see all the guys that they're connected to in free agency and trade rumors of the Paul George, of the Gordon Haywards. those again are wings. Do they not realize that Isaiah Thomas is getting older, that his contract's coming up soon?
It's positionless NBA, man.
That you're going to have a guy in Isaiah Thomas who, yes, can put up 30 right now as a 27-year-old, but can he do that as a 29-year-old in his first year of his contract? Then a 30-year-old, then a 31-year-old, then a 33-year-old, then a 34-year-old. You get the gist. Can his speed pick up? Can his ability to...
Speed doesn't usually come with age. No, LeBron James is a freak of nature.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is, why are you going to sign a guy to a max contract if you even sign a guy to a max contract? Like, what is the plan here in Boston?
They almost don't have an option because now they don't have another point guard that they're comfortable with.
That's what I'm saying.
Leading this team.
And that's really why. That's why this video and this segment is entitled, was picking Jayson Tatum a mistake? Because you look at this now, and it wasn't the pick of Jayson Tatum. It was just the fact that you picked Jayson Tatum at 3 because you could have had a Markelle Fultz. You could have had Alonzo Ball that fit the guard of the future. Again, I think Boston, at least you have a ton of assets. You have a ton of players there. Jayson Tatum might not even be on this team if you do end up getting Paul George in a trade. If you trade for Paul George, most likely Jayson Tatum's going to be tied into there, or Jaylen Brown's going to be tied in there. You'll get rid of one of your legs.
Apparently Jaylen Brown is the, we won't do a deal with him. If you include Jaylen Brown, the report was from Danny. It was, if we get close to a deal and then they bring up Jaylen Brown, the call ends.
Well, then Jayson Tatum is
I think JT is the odd man out.
Which, again, is ridiculous because, Danny Ainge comes. That's why I don't believe Danny Ainge when he says, our number one player was there at 3.
Yeah, the fact that he brought up the petty story about him having to cancel the workout when he flew out to Sacramento to go watch Josh Jackson work out. And it was like, oh, they canceled it after I got there. The level of insult from that, we're like, no, we're not going to take this guy. I'm like,
we're not going to take Josh
I feel
Jackson.
like so much of the stuff from him is just reactionary comments to save face in public. Well, I mean, the man has done amazing moves for them in free agency, in the trades and drafting. I can't deny him there. It's just the public comments kind of get to me a little bit.
Well, and I think the one thing, too, that Josh Jackson came out and said was, I don't want to go there if there's no guarantee that I'm going to be there. And I agree with him. You look at Jayson Tatum, again, he's roped into these talks with the Pacers that he's going to go back to Indiana. So again, it's something where I understand Josh Jackson's nervousness or qualms to go to a team like Boston if he's not going to be there.
Right.
And why you pretty much, why do you need to see me work out again? You've already seen me work out. You've already seen what I have. Even if you haven't seen me work out, it's not like a workout's going to. It's not like a workout's going to change your mind.
Yep.
So and maybe you can say something that Josh Jackson's off the court issues came into there, and that's fine. Jayson Tatum doesn't have any of that. But still, I think it was a mistake trading back and just getting Jayson Tatum. I think if you were going to trade back, then make a move. Go get a Paul George. And I thought the whole move was that you were going to trade back and then go get a guy like Gordon Hayward. But now it seems like the rumors are saying that they're going to sign Gordon Hayward. They're going to bring in Paul George. They're going to keep Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown. They're going to have those 3 wings there. But then again, it's just really how is this team going to take shape and what's the future of this team and how much does missing on Jimmy Butler and Paul George hurt them? So let's get into this and let's look at the future right now, because right now, the way that this team looks to me, you have IT at your number 1. Then you have, I would say, Bradley. I mean, Bradley, I don't think has lost his starting job right now.
Yeah.
And then at that 3 spot, I guess you go Jay Crowder, or maybe Jay plays the 4. I'm not really sure. And then you put Tatum as the 3. And then Brown comes off the bench, and then you got Horford as a 5. I mean, would that be what lineup would you go with?
I think a lot of it is kind of dependent if Zizic coming over this year. I think he is. I think he's set to be here. So I think that he's going to soak some minutes. Probably not right off the bat, but he will probably be their final answer. I think you're pretty much spot on though. I think it's going to be either Jaylen Brown coming off the bench. Otherwise, he's going to be at the 3, and Crowder will slide to the 4.
And then JT will come off the bench?
Yeah. I mean, again, this is Boston. This is a team that won 60 games last year. This is a team that, yes, you are a top pick, but guess what? You're going to be on a minutes share. You're going to be in a rotation. You are not going to be here to play 30 minutes a game, and we're not going to see a superstar out of you in your first couple of years. We're going to see small portions of you, and you're going to earn any additional minutes you get because they have so many guys under contract, and they have a lot of really good deals for them. So, they're in a spot where they can't even see all of their players play, and they don't know maybe the full potential of them. I think Jaylen Brown, averaging just about 20 minutes a game by the end of the season, all in is just it's in my mind it's almost a shame, but at the same time they're bringing him along in a specific role and they're letting him play within their set, and they're able to win 60 games. So I can't really argue with that, but at the same time, are you hurting the development of your younger guys because you are forcing the ball to go through Isaiah Thomas and Al Horford? and in crunch time, you sit the young kids down, and it goes back to the veterans.
I mean, you got 2 top 3 picks here, and you're questioning which one's going to play off the bench. And which one's coming off the bench.
Potentially both.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that just kind of upsets me is
it's
that
day and night compared to the Sixers and the Suns.
And that's the thing that upsets me is because then if you're talking about bringing in a Gordon Hayward, you're bringing in a Paul George, that also hurts their chances of playing because then you're most likely going to have to move Jay Crowder, which is likely. I think they're going to move Jay Crowder or Avery Bradley if they do have to trade on Paul George. But then again, you're still hurting these minutes by bringing in Gordon Hayward and Paul George, both guys who play the 3. I mean, obviously one of them's going to have to move and play the 4 or play the 2.
Right.
And probably Gordon Hayward probably play the 2, and then Paul would go to the 4. But still, it's something where you're hurting this development, and you still have a ton of guys overseas. You still have that Gershon Yabusa. You still have Zizek, like you brought up.
Yeah, I think everybody's super high on Zizek. I think that, again, you can literally list off like 8 more names, and the fact that we're only going to see them play like 15 to 22 minutes each.
You could still list off the Nets pick and the pick that they just got for that Philadelphia pick. I mean, there's still more guys to come for this Celtics
and last
team.
year, didn't they pick up Djax from Notre Dame, right?
Yeah, he was
so
off the bench.
There's your backup point guard behind Smart. Mm-hmm. So that's your future, and he's gotten to play Summer League.
And I love Demetrius Jackson, but he's not a future starting guard.
Yep,
I love him, and he was fun to watch in Notre Dame, but he's not a future starting guard.
Smart has poor decision making as far as his shot selection.
And he's not that good of a shooter. I mean, he has a couple
on top of that, that's a problem.
I mean, he had that one good game in the Eastern Conference Finals, but that was about it.
Well, yeah. Who else had a good game during the Eastern Conference Finals? Who else looked like a superstar for a whole game?
I can't think.
Come on.
Just say the name.
I don't even know. I'm awful with names. You know me.
I did Kelly Olynyk?
Kelly Olynyk, thank you.
Kelly Olynyk's restricted anyways.
I know.
So the thing is that you look at this direction, and this is a playoff team, and you obviously you want to go for it, and that's why you're tied into Gordon Hayward. You're tied into
they want to win.
Paul George. They want to win, but then they also have so many fucking draft picks that I don't know what the direction of this team is. And usually that's something that's like, oh, you have too many options. Like but the thing is that when you have too many options as a playoff team, it's really what direction are we going in? How are we going to hurt our team? How can we help our team? And I think there's too many options that you're going to end up hurting your team. And I don't think Boston's in a bad position. I don't think Boston's screwed.
Yeah. Saying the team who won 60 games last year and has a chance of signing 2 All-Stars this offseason.
But it's really, can these guys help you win a championship? Can they help you?
Realistically, yeah. What are you looking at? Do you think that a roster with Isaiah Thomas, say they get Paul George, say they get Gordon Hayward, and Al Horford, those 4 plus your 17 wings and an unlimited amount of bench players who are solid rotational players, that's great for the regular season. But when it's down to the finals, they're not going to get minutes.
And you're talking about a team that can't fucking defensive rebound. I mean, you look at this. I mean, Gordon Hayward. I mean, yeah, he's got. I mean, he grabs like 5 boards a game, I think, or something like that. Paul George can grab some boards, but I mean, I wouldn't rely on him as my second, getting rebounder. If he ends up being that, then great. But I want a guy that at least I can go to. That's why the Cavs have K-Love and Tristan Thompson. Those are their 2 go-to, and then obviously
up the boards.
Yeah, then obviously Bron can just come in whenever he wants.
Yep.
So it's something where LeBron doesn't need to be relying on his defender, but he has that skill.
The triple-double machine.
Yeah, Paul George has that skill to rebound, but he's not going to be relied on because he needs to run up the court, and you can just start that fast break. You can just start that movement. So it's something where I don't understand the direction. I don't understand if Danny Ainge isn't pulling the trigger. You look at what the Timberwolves gave up to get Jimmy Butler. And I look at that and I'm like, why didn't the Celtics go after that?
Yeah.
Because it's something where, you didn't have the Zach LaVine. You didn't have that.
If they toss in the Nets pick from this year and the Nets pick for next year, that would have done it. Like, it's those 2 picks plus Jay Crowder.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think the Bulls would have taken that in a heartbeat.
Or you throw in a guy like Marcus Smart. I mean, you match Marcus Smart to Chris Dunn, you match Jayson Tatum to Zach LaVine, and then you match a draft pick.
You give him next year's Brooklyn pick probably.
I don't know about that because Brooklyn's going to be a terrible team.
That's what I think the Bulls were asking for.
Or unless you protect that. And again, we don't know what's happening there.
Right,
but
nothing will ever come out officially.
There's something there that you could have moved for a Jimmy Butler, and then maybe Jimmy makes more sense where I see Jimmy Butler and then Gordon Hayward. That makes more sense to me because Jimmy can rebound and Jimmy's going to be a lights-out scorer for you. And
he's
Jimmy can take over.
He's a two-way player, I think, much more than Gordon is as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, and Paul George kind of fits that as well, the Jimmy Butler role of being two-way players. But then again, it's more of Paul George will stunt the growth of the guys that you just drafted more than Jimmy Butler will.
But do you care about their progression if you're competing for a championship with Paul George?
And that's why I'm saying is, what is the fucking direction of this team?
You win and you're in the process at the same time.
Are we a team? Are we a team of the future, or are we a team for a championship? So what should be the direction? Because you can't be both. There's no way you can be both. They're doing it
somehow.
Do you really think that though?
I mean, I think they're hurting their young players' development. In all honesty,
so they're going to go for a championship. Do you think that's the right direction?
I think if they can land the combo of Hayward and George, they're all in for a championship. And I expect to see some pieces move this season to help finish out that roster. Like you said, get themselves, even if it's a pure defensive and rebound player, like that's worth it to have somebody on the floor. I don't even know. I don't have a name for you. You know what? Bismack be out now. Just fuck with you, Orlando fans.
Or like a Tristan Thompson, or just some
an equivalent of that. Yeah, someone who can contribute on the defensive end and who will get you the boards that you desperately need to compete with these teams. I think that's the move. If they are able to land both of those players, it's time to turn over some pieces, move some assets, and finish out this roster so you can be a legitimate threat to this Warriors team. If they can't land both of those pieces, I think they're going to continue slow rolling it. They're going to enjoy their, their lottery picks for the next couple of years out of all these amazing trades. And at that point, they'll decide, like, well, what do we really want to move forward with? Because now Al Horford's in his mid-30s, Isaiah Thomas is in his mid-30s, Paul George is going to be like 30 at that point. So if they get him, if they get Hayward, he'll probably close to 32.
Gordon's younger.
Yeah. So I mean, both those guys will still be prime, but like the middle of it. So honestly, I think it's just. It's so dependent on if they land this double pick.
Yeah, and what the final question I'm going to ask is, what should the expectations be for the Celtics? And we'll do two parts for this.
Sure.
If they land Gordon Hayward and Paul George or some package like that, should the expectation be an NBA championship?
I think if they can land them both, the expectations to go on for a championship. I don't even know, though, because matchup-wise, I still think if nothing changes between now and the finals, other than the fact that those two players enter the Celtics, I still would like the Warriors in a matchup.
I would agree. So then so let's say they don't get at least Paul George.
I think they got a fighter chance, though.
Yeah, I think
that in that series it would be a series. It would be a 5, 6, potentially 7 game.
I think the Eastern Conference Finals would be very interesting. I don't know if the Cavs would win or if the Celtics would win, and I think the same thing could be said for the Warriors, because if they're able to get past the Cavs, then they'll be able to get past the Warriors.
Yeah.
Or at least give up a fight against the Warriors. But then again, we don't know if this is going to happen. Let's say they just land Gordon Hayward, because I think that's very likely.
That's very realistic.
They're going to add Gordon Hayward. You add Gordon Hayward to this team. Does that propel the expectation? Does that just mean like, hey, we're going to stay on the same timeline? Gordon Hayward, though, is just going to add to our team. He's just going to add to our future because, again, he's still young.
Yeah, I think they're going to lock him up for, it's going to be a max-out contract, so they'll have him for years, and you're not going to push the timeline. I think you pick up Hayward, you're still a 60-win team, you're maybe a 64-win team, whatever, 65 tops, and that's great for you, Boston. But you have to ask yourself, seriously, does this team beat the Cavs? Does this team beat the Warriors? No? Okay, well, what can we do about it? We have 3 developing wings now. We've got Crowder on a great contract, Bradley on a good contract, and then we've got an aging point guard. So how are we going to address the point guard? Are we going to go all in on IT at the end of the season? If this combo works, I think that, again, comes down to their playoff performance, because there's if he comes up short in the playoffs, then I think that they have to be realistic about that and perhaps think about moving on. But if he has another performance like he did this past year, up to the point before he got injured, I think he's going to walk away with a very lucrative contract.
And maybe they do move on, and maybe that direction that they choose, if this plan doesn't work out, is a younger direction. And then you look at a team, if
and you still have, Hayward would be your leader of the team. Horford aging,
yeah.
You could see about keeping him around for another year or two. That's fine, but you'd be pretty happy with Gordon Hayward again being your leader and having Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown developing.
But then again, I look back at this and I look at this team.
They all play the same position.
They all play the same position. And then
it's a positionless NBA, Sean.
But then if I go back to, should they be kicking themselves for taking Jason Tatum and trading back? They should have just drafted Markelle Fultz.
In my mind, yeah.
I think they should have just went Fultz. And again, I don't think the Celtics are screwed. I don't think this is
by
a
no
bad
means, yeah.
team for the Celtics, but they need to pick a direction and they need to go all in. And you have so many opportunities and assets to do that now is the time to go for it, Danny Ainge. Because you can't wait, because if you keep waiting, you're going to miss the bus. And you're going to miss that championship, whether it's right now or in 5 years or in 10 years or whatever.
It's great winning 55 to 65 regular season games a year.
But
if you don't win a championship, I mean, what's it all worth?
Celtics fans will call for your head because you have so many assets that you will miss out.
He's got a large cushion on that.
If you don't win a championship, he does. If you don't win a championship, though, in that large cushion, they're gonna ask for your head.
Eventually, they'll get hot. Yeah.
They're gonna ask for your head, and I think it's even if you go this year and you do get a Paul George and Gordon Hayward and you don't win it, you're like, well, what the hell happened?
What else?
If you keep going,
what else do we do at this point?
And then if you do sign Isaiah Thomas to a max contract and the bad decisions keep piling up, then they'll call for his head because again, Boston fans are used to winning, and if you do have the opportunity to win and you pass up for it, they'll call for your head. And I think reasonably so. I think reasonably so that Danny Ainge, at least maybe he shouldn't be fired, but I think that, at all for the way that he's built this team. Because,
bold,
again, I still think that this team is in the right direction. They just need to pick a direction. I just think that if results do not come soon, that Danny Ainge might get fired and he might be on the chopping block. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a discussion for 2020.
Yeah,
I mean, we got plenty of time before that's even a thing. But I do want to say, at least I like their pickup of Semi in the second round. He was a guy had mocked at 20. Mm-hmm. I think value wise, that's awesome. And again, but is he going to be a stud for you? Is he going? No, he's going to be a great role player.
Yeah,
role players don't win championships.
Well, and I mean, you have
role players contribute to regular season.
So many fucking role players in this team. Marcus Smart's a role player. Kelly Olynyk's a role player. Fucking Tyler Zeller's a role player. I mean, there's so many role players on this goddamn team, and I love it. It's great. You have so many Swiss Army knives. But then again, it's nothing where you don't have any guys that can do anything.
It's almost like, and I'm not going to go down that route.
What's that?
I was going to make a joke about the Magic.
Okay. Well,
and their role players and their 12 starters.
At least they're not starters. At least they are bench players that aren't wasting time. The final thing though is I think the Celtics did have a great draft. I think Jayson Tatum was a good player. I think he's a great player. Again, I think it's the direction that's hurting him. I don't think it's Jayson Tatum is the mistake. I think the direction that they're going is the mistake. I think Semi, fantastic pick. I think Kadeem Allen, fantastic pick. Again, a crafty role player. This guy looks like a linebacker, a 6'3" linebacker shooting guard that can shoot and also be a spark plug off the bench and be a great defender. I really like the Kadeem Allen pick. I like those three picks. I like their draft last year of Gershon Yabusele, Zizic, picking up Jaylen Brown now after the fact. I didn't like the Jaylen Brown pick then. I liked it now. Getting Ben Bentel, even though he's not even on the team anymore. Getting Demetrius Jackson. I liked all the picks that they had, but then again, it's not all these players are on this team. So it's really when are these? What's the position? What's the focus and outlook for this team and these draft picks? And I really don't have an answer for that. So, anyways, tell us what you think of the Celtics draft. Tell us what you think of their missing out, possibly missing out on Jimmy Butler, possibly missing out on PG-13. What should the direction for the Boston Celtics be?